So when Zillow was launching their model, I got a call from Lloyd Frink, and he said, and I didn't know who that was. My phone rang, he's like, this is Jason Mitchell? I'll never forget it. He's like, this is Lloyd Frink. And I was like, who's Lloyd Frink? He's like, I'm the founder of Zillow. And I'm like, oh shit. Well, the partnerships began, I got a call from a buddy of mine. He's been a buddy of mine for a long time. His name's Matt Stouffer. He worked his way up to be one of the top executives at Quicken Loans at the time. And he called me back in the day, and another very, very close friend of mine, his name's Brian. He was Matt's right-hand guy here in Arizona. Prior to that, before they kind of took those roles, I had met a lot of friends of mine. I went into real estate, and a lot of my friends went into mortgage, and I'm from Detroit. And so a lot of my friends that I've known for decades now, that were working their way up the chain of command at Quicken Loans at the time. My buddy Adam Speck and Stouffer and Brian Burt and, all these guys that I had known as basically a kid, in my early 20s. And you forge these great friendships. And as they worked their way up, these things started to evolve over there. One of the companies that they spun out was a company called In-House Realty. So Stouffer called me and said, hey, I can get you connected with my buddy Sam over here. We're doing this referral model. Would you be interested? And I had just got back into the field. This was like 2010, I think. And so I needed every deal I could get. I was just coming out of a really tough couple of years when the market crashed and everything was going to hell. And so for me, it was an opportunity to grow my business. And so I started with them right when I got back into real estate, which is now 15 years ago. And so I started working on that, and I started working their referrals. And then I thought to myself, if you can just do a really good job, maybe you can get more business. And then they did, I got more business. And so I hired some buyer's agents. And what I realized then at a young age was leverage in real estate is everything. If you can create a good process to drive transactional volume, everything works, because as long as you can get the business, the people are actually doing the work for you. But here's the trade-off. They're happy to do it because they want the business, and you can bring the business. You don't have the ability to do that kind of work, meaning you can't work with 50 clients at once. So have them work with the 50 clients at once. You just bring in the business. So this concept of leverage was something that resonated with me. And so what I thought was, okay, what if I built our entire platform around servicing other groups? And this is back in like 2012. And
were there other examples at the time?
No. No, I mean, I truly believe from a broker level, JMG is the pioneer of B2B. I truly believe that. And I think most of my partners would agree too, because it's really hard to expand. It's easy to get referrals in a local market that you're in. It's very difficult to expand in other states and other cities and duplicate the model over and over again, because there's a lot of layers to it. There's operational layers, because everything has to have consistency. Everything needs to be the same. The training needs to be the same. Agents need to be on the same page. Accountability, like all these things. You're going to all these different environments, different rules and regs, everything. It's hard to have a duplicative model when it comes to managing distribution of referrals under one accountability platform. So that's like where we are now. But as it evolved, as things started to transpire, I started to ask myself, well, could I do this in other markets? And would I get the support in other markets? Because if I can't get the business, it's all for nothing. And I got the support. And then what happened was I started to meet other people. I started to meet other partners that we have. One of the best ones that I ever got introduced to is Veterans United. And they allowed us to scale with them, and they're a huge group. And so meeting them was a really, really big opportunity. But what I always say too is that, and now we have a lot of big partnerships. We have Freedom Mortgage and Mr. Cooper and New American Funding, who's like our sister company. Amerisave, Open Door, OfferPad, Zillow, you name it. We have a lot of big partners. But a lot of my partners have come to me and had helped them consulting on how do you do these things? Because a lot of them didn't have the model of trusted agent partnerships. And they knew that I had done this in the past. So when Zillow was launching their model, I got a call from Lloyd Frink, and he said, and I didn't know who that was. My phone rang, he's like, this is Jason Mitchell? I'll never forget it. He's like, this is Lloyd Frink. And I was like, who's Lloyd Frink? He's like, I'm the founder of Zillow. And I'm like, oh shit. So him and Rich Barton. And in any event, so he asked me to come to Seattle, and I sat with him and Kerry Armstrong at the time, and other folks that were involved at the time there, that were like Steve and Greg and these, legacy people at Zillow that were instrumental in helping them grow. And I helped them. I was one of those that helped launch their flex model. And a lot of companies too. You take Freedom and a lot of groups that I help personally when it comes to how do you think this should work? How do you think that, what are your thoughts on should we send it here? Should we send it there? Training loan officers, getting buy-in from loan officers. A lot of the stuff that we do, part of my job is I want to help our partners be more successful. I don't look at competition out there and say, hey, you have these other partners, I want all their business. It's good for partners to have. We have another big partner called Home Story, and the founder, his name's John. He's a friend of mine, and they run a big network for a lot of big banks out there, and we happen to be a big partner of theirs. But I don't ever tell John, I don't say, John, we should be your only partner in all these markets, because the reality is we got to compete. We got to be the best. And if we're the best, we'll get the business. If we're not the best, we don't deserve the business. There's markets with partnerships that there could be 100 referrals in a certain market, and we're in that market, we might only get 10 of them. And the reason that is because we don't have an army of strong agents. Out of 10 agents, we might have 2. So they get the lion's share of what we get. So every market is important to be great in if you want to get the business, because if we're not great, we don't get the business. People can like me as much as they want. The reality is they don't care. Mr. Cooper doesn't care about Jason Mitchell. Mr. Cooper cares, is Jason Mitchell performing? Are his agents performing? Trust me, it's good to have a great relationship, of course, but it's even better when you have a great relationship and you're fulfilling your commitments on excellence. And I think we have excellent markets, and I think we have good markets, and then I think we have average markets. And that is where the training and coaching come into play, to say you guys got to up your game as agents and as leaders, because if you want to get more business, these are the things you're going to have to do. And that's why I have good leaders, to make sure that messaging is going to the right people. Because if you can't perform, you can't work here. That's just the way it is. So we're always trying to raise the bar of our performance standards to our partners. And hopefully, our partners see that. Hopefully they see that every day we come to work and we try to do 2 things: give as much value to our agents as possible and be the best partner that we can to the partners that we have. And now we have some really good technologies now, because of investments and buying some other companies, that we actually manage the distribution platforms for many of our partnerships too. So now they can save a ton of money and not have to build when we white label these products for them, so they can get visibility to what's going on in their business. So it's really great. It's nice to have the ability to have more tangible value to partners through a lot of the technologies that you have, whether it be national MLS search, distribution products, all the things that we can actually provide. Some of them use it, some of them don't. Some of them have their own stuff. But it's good to be able to have additional value props out there to provide the partnerships, so they know that not only working with Jason Mitchell Group do I have a great national selection of agents, but I also have these extra tools that I can tap into as well. And that's what we want to keep doing. We want to keep building great tools and resources for our agents and for our partners, and we want to keep growing market centers as well.